Here at Run Wales, we're always on the lookout for inspirational stories. This week is Men's Health Week, and we've got three men that are sharing what running and fitness means to them. I hope you enjoy their stories. So first up, we're off to Penman Mile to meet Will. In 2018, a health scare made him rethink his priorities in life. Is his story.
Okay, so I stopped smoking and piled on a lot of weight, and then had quite a nasty health scare really. I sort of had a lot of medical tests, and luckily, thank God, I was all right, but it kind of gave me a shock, and I needed to do something about my weight and my life really. So the only thing I knew to do was running, because I knew it was good to lose weight. So I actually just started running just to lose weight. There's no other reason behind it. And quickly realised that my health scare was more to do with my mental health and my physical health. As I was running, I over 7 months realised that I was suffering with chronic anxiety. And actually, I'm not an anxious person. Anybody you talk to or know me would see I'm quite outgoing and extrovert. But it really made me realise that I was suffering with anxiety that manifested itself in chronic physical health conditions. Okay, so there was a lot of things to help me motivate really. It wasn't just one thing. So obviously the weight was a big thing, so I was running and I was losing weight quickly, because running obviously is great for weight loss. Although I always said weight loss starts in the kitchen, not when you're running, so running helps to speed that. So that was a great motivation. But I think just the running community really. My boss Steve helped me. He was an experienced runner, so he got me involved with the Static Running Club, going to track with John Eagles and the other guys there, and then just progressing. And then I realised I'm quite a competitive individual, so as my times were getting better, then I started entering races. I'm doing better. And what I really like about running is that personal journey. So it doesn't matter who I'm running with in the race, I'm actually racing against myself, so that is fantastic. So I'm just looking at my times, but obviously having people in a race doing the same thing was fantastic for me, and I just got, so those are the things really that help motivate me to keep going, and obviously the impact it had on my mental health. So it was dampening my anxiety, it was helping me manage my stress. I have a really high stressful job. I work in the NHS, and it's really quite stressful. I've got a senior manager role in the NHS, and it's incredibly stressful, a lot of pressure. And every day I come home and do a run, and that is just the best for my health really, for my mental health. Yeah. So all of that combined keeps me motivated. So I've learned a lot about myself really. That was the biggest thing is that actually when I first started running it was a chore. But then I learned that I'm quite a determined individual, and if I've got the right goals in front of me, then I'm quite willing to put the effort in. And I also learned a lot about myself, like I said, about my anxiety. I never thought I'd suffered with anxiety until I started running, and going through that journey of getting better, actually just learned so much about myself through that journey of self-discovery really, through running. And then the other bit is about the respect I have for my body. I'm 48 years of age. I was 18 stone 9 a few years ago, drinking and smoking, and now I'm able to run half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, run 50 miles a week. And I never thought that my body could do that. So I have certainly got a newfound respect for my body, what I eat, and how I take care of myself. And all of that combined just keeps me healthy, both physically and mentally. It's fantastic, best thing ever. So running's become a really important part of my life now because obviously it keeps me fit, it keeps me healthy, both physically and mentally. But more than that, I just feel it's a natural part of what I do. So what I find is after work, I say I've got quite a stressful job. I work in the NHS, and I come home, my mind is full of different things, that are related to work. And then I go running. And what I learned is it's such a natural process whereby I'm actually in my own head sorting things out in work. And my legs are just doing what it needs to do in terms of running. I'm not actually physically thinking that I'm running. It's almost like an out-of-body thing, to be honest. And during that process, it helps me just sort out all the mess that's going on in my head. And then by the time I finish my run, I'm energised, I feel great, and I go get on with the rest of my day. I've got a young family, need me to have that energy to do all the stuff that we do as families. And so yeah, it's probably alongside work, my family, one of the most important things to me at the moment in my life, definitely.
Right, well, I started running January 2018, I'd say it was. Started off doing 5Ks in 30 minutes, as everyone else does. And I literally just went from there, just kept at it by myself, just slowly grinding away, and then joined my local run club. I think it must have been June 2018, and I'd say that was easily the best choice I've made in life thus far. The amount of new faces and people you see, second to none, which helps a lot. Everyone was understanding, because obviously I've got my quirks, but everyone was proper dead sound, down to earth. So, not much further to add on that question, to be honest. I find running and general fitness important for myself personally, just because it's my way of letting go in life. Obviously, for example, you've been to work, hard day at work. In my opinion, there's nothing better than just sticking one earphone in, not two, one earphone, just doing a couple of miles, just letting everything in the world just disappears when you're on a run, whether it's on the roads or I'm lucky to live in the countryside, so up the mountains. Everything in life just disappears. There's no stress, there's no nothing, it's just you, the road, your 2 feet, and away you go. I think general fitness is important to tie in with the running, because I find if you don't have a good base, so a good core, your running will suffer. I'm lucky, touch wood, to not be hampered by injuries at all, and I'm hoping that's due to the core fitness, just lots of stretching, lots of foam rolling, etc, etc. Obviously now the pools are back open, swimming quite a fair bit as well, just a lot easier on the joints in my opinion. So if I was to obviously recommend anything to do with running and general fitness, I would say don't just predominantly run, try and find something else, whether that is swimming or cycling or even any form of cross training, even if it's just rowing or just walking a fair bit. But again, I think mental health wise, just fitness helps a lot, because there's no one judging you, there's no one watching you, it's just you, yourself. There's no pressures at all, in my opinion. And I think that's one of the important things in life, is obviously being happy, and running's a sport that's accessible for absolutely anyone. I started running in 2018 with some £5 shoes and a £5 shirt. Did Chester Half Marathon in April 2018 in those £5 shoes and cheap as anything gear, no watch, no nothing, just literally 30 quid's worth of gear. Did all my training and then eventually did the race, the Chester Half, and I think it was about 1:45. That was obviously off 4 or 5 months of just starting, which some folk find is impressive. However, for me it was always about improvement, constant improvement. But running's literally a sport that's accessible, again, I would say, for literally anyone. no matter what your budget is, you could easily go to, so I can't name stores, discount clothing stores, and get a cheap pair for £5, and then that's you, you're gone, away with it. So, with mental health again, obviously, I was diagnosed with Asperger's and autism when I was very young. When I was 3 years old, I just started walking. I just started talking. So I couldn't talk or walk until I was 3. And now, funny enough, just ran a marathon. It affects training for me personally. Not a huge amount, I would say. A lot of my routes are short, just short. For example, a lot of the time I'll do 6 to 8 miles and it'll be on a football field. The local one to me is called Baston Fields. It's about a mile in circumference, I would say, and I could do up to 10 miles just literally running in that loop. I just find it a lot safer for me. Unfortunately, I'm one of those who needs to know exact directions of where he's going. And if I'm only doing short loops, that helps a lot. With marathon training, obviously, I had to get up to some of the runs. I think the peak run's 24 miles, which is obviously maybe a bit too much to do on 1 mile leaps. So for that, I was lucky enough and blessed to be able to meet up with friends. So I was able to just run 5 miles to the next town over and then do 10 to 15 miles with a friend and then 5 miles back. That helped an absolute lots. I was like, I think if that's what that helped a lot, because I'm not comfortable going too far out of my local proximity, just because I just get very nervous, and if it's not all completely mapped out, I do struggle sometimes. So training isn't difficult, but there needs to be some adaptations made to a normal training plan. If a friend's not available, it would usually be the 5 mile loop to the next town, and I would do that 4 to 5 times just because I know where I'm going, I know the turns, I know, because I've done it so many times. You might think that's obviously a bit boring, doing the same 4 or 5 routes all the time. However, sacrifices and adaptations do have to be made. I know what I'm comfortable with, and if just little short routes like that, they help me a lot. So I've got treadmill as well. I know everyone hates treadmills. I'm also not a huge fan of treadmills, however they have their purpose, and if it is literally a double run day, 4 miles easy in the morning, it's easy to just get on the treaders, just do 30-35 minutes easy mileage, which again helps because I know my surroundings. It's literally just my front room. Racing wise and competition wise, obviously unfortunately I can't drive because of the Asperger's, because of spatial awareness and reaction times. I'm not blessed with the best ones, unfortunately. So with races, it's all about who else is going. Obviously, again, to further my point, join a running club, because there's always someone else from the run club going, and as long as you sling them a couple of pennies for petrol, they're always welcome to bring you along. Family as well, obviously. Family are excellent. They'll take you to places. For the Cheshire Marathon that just went in April, I had to stay over for that one, unfortunately, because I was like, there's no chance I'm going in the morning. I would literally just be like so claustrophobic and just I would hate life. So stayed over in Cheshire with the mother, which helped a lot because it gave me a day to know my surroundings. Perfectly fine with everything as long as I know my bearings. Like, as long as I know my bearings, I'm very happy in life. But training, racing wise, I would say it's not hugely different. I'd like to think it's not hugely different, sorry, but it's predominantly the same 4 or 5 routes, lots of loops, which obviously, God bless podcasts. So yeah, I'd just like to leave it at that, to be honest. That's okay. One of the things I'm most looking forward to coming out of lockdown is being able to freely meet with others, I would say. Being able to literally join up with Run Club without the restrictions would be fantastic. We've recently been able to, I think it's a group of 30 or a group of 50, is it? Oh, just off the head, 50. Which is obviously great. However, it's all book online, book in advance. Again, with the cross training, I mentioned swimming. It's all book in advance, and I just can't wait for the day where you can literally just rock up without having to worry about spaces filling up, because obviously there's only a limited amount of spaces. So just being able to walk up to a leisure centre and just do the simple things in life. Even, obviously I don't go out a huge amount. Not that you can't obviously be fit and then go out, but it's just not really hugely for me. With work, to be honest, obviously working in the retail sector, we've not really stopped. So I can't really comment on that one. With just everything opened up, just going back to normal, that'd be fantastic. Obviously we all want to do away with these face coverings. But they've, in my opinion, they've served their purpose. Hopefully we can just get back to normality, I would say, and just be able to meet up inside and outside, and just go for a stroll with your friends, not just a friend. And just seeing the world just go back to 2019. Events all on as well. That'd be nice to see, because currently there's only a certain few amount of events that are on. But it would be nice for stuff such as the parkruns to be open again. Even as someone who works Saturdays who doesn't get to compete in much of the parkruns, it would just be nice to be able to just go on the social media and just obviously look at so many people just enjoying what they do, because at the minute unfortunately it's limited to those who are a certain standard, and it would be nice to just, you know, be able to open it up for all, because running's a sport which I find is very inclusive and it's for everyone. However, unfortunately for our past year it's been quite inclusive, where it's only been a certain criteria standard of runner who was able to compete. So obviously the opening ups and allowing all to compete, in my opinion, is what I'm looking forward to most, because in my opinion 500 smiles are better than 50 smiles at the end of a run, because we all do the same distance. So opening up for everyone, that's what I'm looking forward to predominantly, if I'm being completely honest.
Well, I started doing running as early as school, middle school, doing athletics and all sorts of sports, in particular rugby. And it started there, and then when I left school, I kept that up, and when I left school, I immediately joined the army, and I joined an infantry regiment. And of course you have to be very fit to go through the training and keep your standards up. So for all that period of time, I worked really hard, and on top of everything else, the training and the development within that, we did lots of sports and things like that. So that carried on throughout into my 20s, and then when I left the army, I got fed up with doing sports and fitness and all that sort of stuff, and I wanted to take a break from it because I was naive and a bit stupid. And yeah, I stopped there. So when I stopped, inevitably I put on lots of weight. I started to get really unfit, which was about a 5-year period. It was quite a long time. And I was smoking, I was drinking, I was eating bad food, and just not looking after myself. And then I got to about the age of 30, somewhere around there, and it was getting quite bad. And I thought it was quite stressful, because I could feel not pains in my chest or anything like that, but I thought there was something wrong with me. So to sort it out, I just went for a really hard run just to see if anything would happen, and nothing happened, of course. And that's when I started to give up smoking, and I started to eat properly, and I started training, getting back into running and fitness and all that sort of thing. And that led me on to doing stuff like my first marathon, which was the Snowdon Marathon back in 2006. and I loved that. I loved training for it. I loved doing the race itself. I loved the challenge of it. And then I did lots of other races, you know, the 10Ks, the half marathons, and all that sort of thing. Kept it up. And the last sort of hard race I did was the Glencoe Marathon, which was a proper mountain marathon, and that was superb. And yeah, I kept that all up. So apart from the obvious health, losing weight, all that sort of stuff, it gets you out of the house, and it you know, it gets you involved with other people and things like that, which is great. But the main thing, the main benefit for me especially, was I suffered from severe, sort of, not severe, yeah, I suppose it is, mental health problems. I've never been diagnosed with anything. I've never gone to a specialist to get diagnosed, but there was definitely something wrong with me, whether that was from the army or just normal life, I don't know. I've never quite put my finger on it. I've never analysed it like that. But what I do know is that running helps me in that way, and stops me from going down into dark places and all that sort of stuff. And so, for example, I'd be at work in my lab, and I'd be bouncing around all happy and sort of singing songs and whistling and doing what I'm doing. I'm thinking, why am I so happy? And I was, because I went for a run the previous day, and that's where it comes from. If I don't run for a period of time, say a week or so, I'll be in my work, I'll be in my lab, and I'll be miserable, and I'll be absolutely rock bottom miserable. So running, especially running, helps me in that way, and that's the main benefit for me. The motivation comes from, well, I'm a junior athletics assistant coach, and that's really popular. It's great, and you know, I need to keep fit and healthy for that in particular. Apart from what I spoke about, the mental health side of things for motivation, that's a big one, and I think you know, what I want to do in the future is try to start a social group of men my age who would never ever think of going for a run, but want to sort themselves out and get started, because that's what I wanted. I wanted that when I moved from a place to a certain other place. I didn't know anybody, had no friends, and I thought the way to do that was through fitness, and start, you know, join a club or get into a group that way. I did it through other avenues, but now I think I'm in a place where I could probably start something and help others in that way.